Hey there, Dr. Walt here. Welcome to my channel, Everything-MCC. Today we're going to go over filling the scrubber tubes, which you wouldn't think would be that difficult, and it isn't. But I'm going to show you some tips to be more consistent and improve your repeatability. Here are the supplies you need for changing the MCC scrubber tubes. First, you're going to need the scrubber tube itself. It's made out of PFA tubing. I chose this material because of its optical transparency and its mechanical properties as a 1/4-inch thin-walled tube. And at the end of that, we used 1/4-inch Swagelok compression fittings. Next, we have some untreated glass wool. This is used to put in the end of the tube and retain the desiccant while providing adequate space for the gas to flow through. Next, we have indicating Dryerite, which removes moisture from the gas stream and turns pink when it is expired. We use a 10 to 20 mesh size, so it's small enough to fit inside of the tube, but large enough so that it does not create any plugs blocking the gas flow. Okay, we also have a pair of scissors for cutting the glass wool, some tweezers for handling the wool and putting it in the end of the tube. We have a couple wrenches for removing the scrubber tube and putting it back on. We also have a funnel that's been customized, and I made a video on that, and that'll help facilitate filling the scrubber tube. We have some Kim wipes for wiping down the surfaces that need to make the gas tight seal. And then we have a waste jar for any Dryerite overflow and spent Dryerite. So the first thing you want to do is put some glass wool in one end of the tube. So you take some glass wool, a little bit of that, and you ball it up. You want to make sure you use enough so that it retains the Dryerite, and you don't want to use too much because it'll end up blocking the gas flow. Just shove that in there to right behind the ferrule. And then any fibers that are sticking out, you can just trim with the scissors. That's good. Next, we can take our funnel and put it on the end of the tube that does not have the glass wool. From here, we can start filling it. It's important not to breathe on the Dryerite because that will use it up. So you want to fill the tube all the way to the top. Once it's to the top, you can tap on it and that will pack down the Dryerite. It's important to pack it down and get rid of any gaps like that because that adds additional volume to the system, which changes the transit time of the gases. So from there, we want to top it off. Again, do the same thing, flick it, pack that Dryerite down, top it off again. All right, put the lid on my Dryerite. And then any extra that's in there, I put in the waste jar. Just tap out a little bit from the tip, grab your glass wool plug, and then stick it in the other end. Trim any excess fibers off. Now you're ready to put the tube on the MCC. You can put the scrubber tube in, aligning the fittings, and tighten the nuts so that they're snug. Next, you get your wrenches and tighten the fitting. Now, these don't have to be super tight. These fittings are rated for ridiculous amounts of pressure, but we're only dealing with a small amount of back pressure. So just snugging up with the wrench should be fine. Things you can check at this point, if you have a low flow rate and your oxygen concentration is right, then one of these fittings is probably leaking. And you can pull it out, check to make sure there's no debris in there, or snug up the fitting. So there it was, filling the MCC scrubber tube. Hopefully you're able to get some pointers to improve your technique and the quality of data you generate. If you like that video and want to see other videos of tricks and tips for the MCC, drop me a line and I'll create a video to add to the channel.